Far fewer people are being locked up under the new Youth Criminal Justice Act, and some surprise, some police officers like it that way.
Why should a kid have a criminal record that's going to hold him back?
Supporters hope that a diversion program will reduce Canada's booming prison population. That's just ahead.
This 17-year-old boy can't be identified because he was recently charged with breaking and entering. But the teenager feels lucky because it's almost certain he'll avoid jail.
Instead of going through trial periods and jail, things like that, we had to sit down with the victim's family and himself.
The new Youth Criminal Justice Act encourages the system to divert young offenders who've committed minor crimes to rehabilitation programs.
It wasn't good what I did, but I have to make up for it.
The boy's father, who can't be identified as well, was part of the first session with the victim.
My son, talked to him, he apologized to him. It really touched him. So what he done was wrong.
Besides apologizing, the teenager has to pay back the victim for what he stole, as well as do community service.
It's all about taking kids that have troubled lives and developing a program that will break their behavioral patterns.
Dave Lockett is with PACT, the group that runs the program the young offender entered.
And the whole goal is to dramatically reduce the reoffense rate of young offenders, as well as to transform the lives of these kids.
Since the new act came into effect at the beginning of April, it's dramatically reduced the number of young offenders going to jail, down 25% in Ontario, BC, and Alberta.
I think that's a good thing. For minor crimes, in majority of cases, why should a kid have a criminal record that's going to hold him back?
In the schools today, we have zero tolerance. Things that, as kids, we remember being resolved in the schoolyard just by speaking to the teacher, now wind up in the criminal court.
The major problem with our criminal justice system is it's based on punishment. And all of the statistics indicate that punishment simply doesn't work.
We have handed our kids over to the court system. And in Canada, we have become one of the highest rates of incarcerating our youth.
One of the things that that happens in any justice system are delays. I mean, it's cases, it varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but typically take, and we're taking in Scarborough, 9 to 12 months before the trial was held. We'd find that when the trial came around a year down the road, nobody was interested in proceeding on this matter. The family had resolved the issue, and it really became apparent that we could deal with a good number of cases by way of mediation. They had a chance to discuss what happened to them and really speak about how it affected them emotionally and what the repercussions were.
What really, really hurt me is to see him being taken away.
Mm-hmm. That's not what you wanted to happen.
No. And to see him suffering.
Who do you think has been affected by what happened about that incident that day?
All of us.
All of you?
Went to observe the mediation conferences and realized that it's a very powerful approach to a problem that comes into the youth court system.
Instead of jail time, the teenager now plans on returning to school, saying he certainly learned his lesson in the justice system. Peter Murphy, CTV News, Toronto.